Okay, so in this video, I'm pretty much going to talk about planets. So, and like their function in the zodiac. Just like every sign has their element, every sign also has a ruling planet. Um, and before I get into like birth charts and what those planets will mean, like exactly in your birth chart, you need to at least know just the general meaning or general like what their function is. What would it mean to have Mercury in Libra, you know? So, but you need to understand what Mercury means in that placement. So, the first one I'm going to do is the sun, of course. So, before we get into that, we're going to take Earth out of this because technically we're all from Earth. So, we're taking Earth. So, the solar system with the moon and the sun, plus you're going to subtracting Earth. So, the sun is your personal identity. That is where your ego lies, who you're trying to become. So the sun sign is the sign that typically everyone knows. So if someone asks you like, "Hey, what's your sign?" You're telling them your sun sign. So you're telling them this is who I am consciously. This is who, you know, this is where my ego lies in this sign. So for me, I would say I'm a Taurus. This is my bare instinct is to act as a Taurus. My ego is a Taurus, like that. So I don't know if I should look here or here. So if I get a little like whatever, okay. So yeah. So Sun is ego, of course, and ego. Sun rules Leo. So Leo is, you know, ego, egotistical, whatever, right? So outwardly, that's how you are. And then we have the moon. So the moon, you know, the moon comes around ever so often. You know, you kind of see, you kind of don't. Sometimes it's like, you know, like we're gonna actually have a super moon soon, but we'll get into what those mean later. So this is more so your emotional development. Um, so let's say you could be a Taurus. I'm just gonna use Taurus as an example because I'm a Taurus. Uh, if your moon is in Taurus, uh, but you're Sagittarius, so and your sun is in Sagittarius, you may, you know, be like, hey, I'm a Sag, da 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 da, free and carefree, but you know, subconsciously you may be a little bit more restricted because your moon is in Taurus. If that makes sense. So, yeah, so the moon placement is pretty much like how you express yourself, kind of like what you may keep hidden from people. Because a lot of times, like going back to the moon being the ruler of Cancer, a lot of people sometimes they don't like you won't know a Cancer. You won't know like, oh shit, you're a Cancer when they'll tell you, you know, like because Cancers kind of like hide truly who they are until they feel that they can trust you. So yeah, that's the moon. And then we have Mercury. So Mercury is placement. That placement rules Virgo and Gemini, and that is pretty much the sign, the planet of communication. So this planet is pretty much determines kind of like where you would be, you know, good at intellectually. This is how you spit data out, how you intake it, pretty much, you know, how you would be as a student. So anything with communication. So shit, how you text. You know, if you're a Sagittarius, you might be a bad texter because they're always like, you know, or you might be a Scorpio, a good texter. You know, well, for the most part, I've always had good Scorpio texters. Anyways, um, yeah, so Mercury is pretty much, yeah, your mind and how you use it. How, like writing, speech, anything, any form of communication. That's why when it's a Mercury retrograde, people, you know, sometimes people don't know how to communicate or, you know, things like your iPad or like your phone might be acting crazy. So anything like that, any like form of communication, they say it kind of goes backwards because of Mercury retrograde. So we're gonna go to Venus. So Venus governs Libra and Taurus. So Venus pretty much has this placement is like how you would love someone. So the qualities of love, like how you are sensually, like how you are affectionate, you know, and it's like how you appeal to people socially. So for a woman, this would be how she would attract a man, and for a man, his Venus would be, you know, what he would think of a woman you know, upon first meeting them, like, you know, if that makes sense. So it's like, if, let's say, it's a Capricorn, right? Capricorns, you know, they kind of like, they like hard workers. So let's say Capricorn like meets a Virgo, you know, that's initially what he's going to be looking for. So let's say if his Venus is in Capricorn, initially he's going to be looking for someone that's serious, you know. So that's what Venus is for. So once again, it's how you will go, or how a woman will go about attracting a man, because you know that, you know, women are from Venus, men are from Mars, you know. So women, how we would attract a man, or you know, or another woman, or and for men it would be how you would, you know, see them initially, you know, attracted to them initially on fun, you know, upon first meeting. It pretty much kind of like gives you an overview of how you would also act in a relationship, kind of like what you like to do for fun, you know, like kind of like more on a like a social level, not necessarily a communication level, because that goes back to Mercury, but Venus is more so like, you know, how you kind of are intimate. You know, they always say Venus and Pisces, you know, you'll always love your partner significantly harder or more, you know, than they would love you. Um, like that. So then we have Mars, which is men, because technically men are the ones that, you know, they go after the girl. They're the planet of action. So, and Mars governs, um, Mars governs Scorpio, and it also governs Aries. Well, it's, yeah, like sub rule. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll get into sub rules later, because those are houses. But Mars is pretty much like what motivates a person, what drives that person to do, you know, the things that they want to do, how they express themselves, their desires, and also how they express themselves when they're angry. Because Mars are, you know, Scorpios tend to be vindictive, and Aries tend to be like, I'm gonna just do it. They don't think about what they're doing until after the fact. They'll be like, oh shit, I shouldn't have did that, you know. So it's like, um, did that, you know, kind of goes with that like impulsive, you know, temperament, and how they deal with conflict. So for women, it would be the opposite of, you know, placement in Venus. So this is how we would see a, you know, a man or whoever we were trying to attract, initially upon the first meeting, versus Mars for men is how you are going to approach a court, you know, court a woman, approach her, like get at her, you know, pop at her, whatever y'all be saying now. Pretty much that's what Mars is. And then we have Jupiter, which is Sagittarius. So Jupiter governs Sagittarius. It also sub governs or sub rules Pisces. So I'm not gonna. I'm just telling you guys what it is, but I'll get into like sub ruling and sub houses. You know, sub ruling houses and planetary placements. A little later, because I don't want to confuse you guys, because it is a lot. It's cool, but it's a lot. Um, so Saturn pretty much, not Saturn, Jupiter is pretty much like expansion, you know, good fortune. It's the planet of luck, and Sagittarius tend to be very lucky people. So, you know, it's always cool if you're in your birth chart, if your Jupiter is in Sagittarius, because, you know, they go hand in hand. But that's pretty much what it is. It's just, you know, how you go about getting luck. So whatever sign, you know, your Jupiter is in, you would go based off like how that sign kind of moves. So let's say if it was like a Cancer, you would need emotional stability to feel lucky. And because luck is something that you create, so you would need emotional stability to feel okay, so that you can, you know, like, you know, face your fears, because you know, you feel okay, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that was, Jupiter's pretty straightforward, just like a Sagittarius, straightforward as fuck. And then we have Saturn. Saturn governs Saturn governs Capricorn, and it also subgoverns Aquarius. So Capricorns, like I've said before, are very hard workers and tend to be extremely hard on themselves. So this placement of Saturn kind of explains like how you work as far as your work ethic and, you know, where you may also feel inadequate. Say if your Saturn is in Virgo, you may feel, you know, that you may not be good enough, or you may not be selfless enough, because Virgos tend, you know, they're very hard on themselves when it comes to giving to others and making sure that others see that they, you know, want to give to them. So yeah, so that's Saturn. So it kind of teaches you through problems and, you know, experience challenges, like any situation. It teaches you, you know, and it's not like Saturn is kind of like a gloomy planet, but at the same time, this placement also shows what kind of endurance you have and the determination that you have to go against things at all odds. Because once again, Capricorns are very persistent. They are the sign of the sea goat, so they didn't claim all the way from the bottom of the ocean to the top of the mountain, you know. So it's like this placement is really important, especially as far as like career goes. It's important to know this sign so you can understand like where you feel inadequate and kind of help you get over that, and what type of, you know, place you need to be in your life to have determination to get through all those obstacles that you have. So next is Uranus. So this is my favorite planet. It's not necessarily my favorite sign. I do like this sign though. Uranus governs Aquarius. So this planet is pretty much, this placement in this planet shows how you go about being innovative. Aquariuses are very innovative. Aquarius, you know, they are real tech savvy, and technology is the most innovative, you know, energy that we have right now, or, you know, it makes us humans feel innovative, if that makes sense. So yeah, Uranus, it pretty much is about, you know, it's associated with electricity and, you know, inventions. A lot of, if you have this sign, Aquarius, in your Uranus, that means you're very innovative, you're inventive, you can think of, you know, this placement is how you think about things that other people wouldn't, because Aquariuses think of things to do and other people are like, oh shit, I would have never thought of that. So, you know, it's always good to have that there. But however you have your placement, that's just what it is, and you have to accept it for what it is, and every sign is innovative in their own way. And this Aquariuses are also like humanitarian, so it it shows how you are as far as society as a whole. Just Aquarians like to, they're individualists, they're individual people, but when it comes to a big, you know, a big mass of people who are coming together for a greater good, they're definitely there for that. So that placement will show how you go about society. And then we have Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, and Pisces is pretty much like the mystical, you know, daydreamy type of, you know, think about like Erykah Badu and Jhené Aiko, you know, those type of people. So this planet is how you are like spiritually, you know. So it shows, it also can tell where your mind is clouded, because they're so dreamy, they might not see things, you know, the way that you should. So it's cool if you have this in Pisces, because, you know, once again, Neptune and Pisces go hand in hand. But it's also, I would also think it would be cool if you would have it in a more practical sign, so like a land, so that you necessarily won't be as clouded. But then again, you can be clouded by your logic if it's too much. But it all depends on like your overall birth chart placement. Yeah, but so this rules also like alcohol, like how, you know, you are with alcohol and drugs, because Pisces are the sign to be most addicted to any type of substance and any type of person. Like they have very addictive behaviors. So yeah, it is, yeah, it just, and then it also kind of goes back to being humanitarian, because Pisces, like their opposite Virgo, are very selfless. and kind of like, in this kind of like humble way. They're just kind of like, okay. So it also shows like how you are on that front as well. And then we have Pluto, which rules Scorpio. So Pluto is how you seek control, how you want power. It is the planet of like transformation, and it also is the planet of secrets and anything mysterious, anything of the hidden. Scorpios are very mysterious. They kind of like secrets. It also is like the planet of death. Scorpios are, if you notice, a lot of Scorpios like black, or they may be into things. Like I have an aunt who is Scorpio, and she loves scary movies. So like horror films, like real life, like Hellraiser. So Scorpios. This kind of shows like how you would be, if that whatever sign is in that placement, how you would be, how you would deal with death, how you would go about gaining power and maintaining that power, and how you go about taboo things, or things that are not necessarily always spoken between people, or like hidden things, mystery, how you would go about that. And that is pretty much it for this. I could go in. No, actually, I'll save that for later, because a lot of people who do their birth charts, like if you go online, you'll see that there's a north node and a south node. But like I said before, there's a lot to this, and I don't want to make you guys overwhelmed. Like, this is in school, so you're choosing to watch this, so I don't want to bore you. So then let me just go over it again. So Sun is your ego. That is who you tell people you are. Your moon, that placement is how you are emotionally, how you are unconsciously, your bare bones, what you need to be bare bone happy and emotionally stable. Mercury is, this placement will show how you spit things out and how you learn, how you communicate. Then we have Venus, how you love. For women, how you attract people. For men, how you are attracted to someone on, the first time meeting them. Mars is how you are motivated, driven, how you express your desires and your anger. For men, it is how you go about getting a woman. And for a woman, it is about how you see, a man or whoever on that first meeting. And then we have Jupiter, that is the planet of luck. So this is how you get your luck. And you have Saturn, which teaches you through experience. So whatever sign you have, you're going to learn. That's how you learn experiences, by having that sign. Aquarius, which is, how innovative you are. So whatever your Aquarius is in, that's how, how you are innovative and inventive, and how you are tech savvy, and how you are adaptable to change, and change throughout the society as a whole and as an individual person. And then Neptune, which is how mystical you are, what type of faith you may be into, how you could be clouded as a person, and kind of like your subconscious mind. So that would be Neptune. Pluto, our last one, how you would go about gaining control, keeping control, how you are into taboo things, and maybe why you love the color black. Okay. Oh,